Welcome back to our channel, Cape Cod Like a Local. I'm Dan.
I'm Nancy.
Today we're going to talk about several reasons why it makes sense to look at homes in rainy weather, because it's a rainy day outside today. So, ready to go?
Absolutely. Last weekend, I had an occasion to do that. In 2 different days, I had rainy conditions, and it was amazing what was uncovered.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So I think one of the main things is if you get into a real rainy time and you're looking at homes, it gives you time to assess the yard and the lay of the land. Is the water being pushed towards the foundation? Are there wet areas in the yard? And depending on how you want to use your yard, that could be a problem for you.
Mm-hmm. Also, I've noticed too, how are the gutters flowing? Are they piecemeal? Are they completely, the full length of a house? That's an important feature as well. Yeah. One of the things that inspectors have often told me is to have a foot at least all around the foundation of gravel. And then this way, once it's pitched and have that stone, that helps the water to stay away from the foundation.
A little drainage, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the other things like we were going to talk about is it gives you a chance to look for maybe water issues in the corners of the basement or in the basement. And many times, just what you just said, many times we'll see a little bit of water issue in the corner of a basement. We realize if you go outside and look, there's no elbow. The pipe is dropping right beside the foundation and putting that kind of volume of water into the ground against the foundation. It builds up hydraulic pressure and it'll find a way in. Wow. So really what we find more often than not is to get that water away. Mm-hmm. Either with a little bit of grading or an extension on the pipe, kick it off to the side. And, we've done that in my own home, my last home. Little tiny problem when I moved in. I just extended all the pipes from the corners out a couple of feet and never had another issue again.
Yeah. And they also mentioned about a pitch, that it should be like a 3-foot pitch all around. Another thing that happened this weekend is that, you look at the house and you think everything looks great. Then you go up in the attic. If there's a fireplace, that's where you can see some leakage too. Maybe the fireplace is pulled away from the house, or just water is getting in there. Yeah. So it really is so important to look at all areas of the house.
Yeah, that happens a lot. You go up in the attic and you can see the fireplace is on this end and there's no wallboard or insulation inside of the attic. So you can see along both sides. If it's been leaky, it'll show up there. You'll see dark spots or water spots or even rot. Mm-hmm. So that's a great point. And while you're up there, look around for roof leaks. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes people think the roof looks good, but it's really important to take a look and make sure that you're not walking into a situation with roof leaks, because if it's been going on a while, it could cause all sorts of damage that you don't even see until it's too late.
And I've had the occasion too that you're looking at a roof and we just had one of those odd storms that the rain was coming this way. And, we live in New England. We have those crazy storms with crazy winds, and you never know what's going to be lifting or where a leak might appear.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gives you a chance to look around the tops of your windows. Sometimes between the window and the wood, if water gets in and hits the head of the support above the window, it always looks for the easiest way out. And very often it'll go and it'll leak between the wood and, say, a vinyl window or your window yourself. So it's a good place to look in there to see if there's any spots or any staining, because that could just be as simple as, could be a gutter overflowing over the back of the fascia, or it could be as simple as a little flashing issue above the window. But either way, it's good to know. And it's especially easy to find when the water's active. Mm-hmm. And then, another point that we have here is look at the neighborhood. When you're coming down the street, is there a big giant, pond in the middle of the street? Now, you were saying there's a neighborhood that you know of, and what happens in the rain?
Actually, a couple of them. There was one in South Yarmouth this week, and then another one in Marston's Mills. And it was like, I don't know the road enough to know, can I go actually through it? Yeah.
And then there's a couple of them that we just see the sump pumps going. Yeah. When there's a lot of rain, the sump pumps are blowing all the water down the driveways and into the streets. So if you were looking there in the dry season, you might not spot all that. And of course, if it's a real problem, the seller and the seller's agent should disclose it. But It's nothing like firsthand knowledge to protect yourself.
And sometimes, like I said, it could be a one-off. It could be just that particular rainstorm that's causing an issue. I think what this really confirms is how important a home inspection is. Because these are things that we are more trained to look at, but an average homeowner wouldn't know to look for these things. And first of all, that's why they have us go along with them. But a home inspection is very important because there's behind the scene things that you can't always see.
Yeah, and the home inspector is trained to look for those things, and that's their job. They're taking a much closer look at the things we breeze through. As buyers, and you breeze through and you're looking at, okay, what's the room layout? Does everything look like it's in good shape? What's my life going to be like here? The home inspector is not thinking any of that. He's saying, okay, let me just check and look for the telltale signs that something could be wrong. So it is very important to have, a home inspection. And then the other thing that I see as a benefit if you're a buyer, it's been a very competitive market. We all know that. But on a really rainy, like we've got a couple of rainy days going on here, I can promise you there are people that saw a house come on and said, well, let's see what the weather does this weekend. And they don't want to drive all the way to the Cape and over the bridge and, to come down and look at one or two houses in the rain. So if a house comes on midweek and you can get in there, the odds are you're going to be dealing with less competition than you would if you waited till the weather dried up a little bit.
Right.
So,
and there's diehards like us that'll be out there in the rain. It doesn't matter.
It
doesn't matter what the weather is.
Any weather. You want to see houses, we're going to take you.
Absolutely.
But so those are just some simple things, reasons gives you a chance to really assess the property in a different way. And wear shoes that are easy to slip on and off, so we don't track through the house.
That's right.
We very often bring our own mats to respect the homeowner's property before you buy it, and then it's also good to have your raincoat, and so you can really take a few minutes in the rain to look at the property and understand if that is really going to meet your needs or if there's a water issue outside or inside.
Correct. Thanks again for watching this week's video. See you again next time. Bye.
Bye.